Hello, hello, hello. Happy CPI Tuesday. How's everyone doing today? Good morning, Sterling. Yes, we kicked off earnings season. The banks beat pretty much across the board. CPI, consumer prices, 2.7 year over year. We'll go through those numbers in a second. Google, everybody's building data centers. We're going to have data centers galore. It's going to be interesting how we power them. It's going to also be interesting to see whether they have. I know some of these data centers are working out special deals, but what about just tapping into, or is it going to raise uh, electric rates across the board for everybody? It'll be interesting. I think they should have to pay their own rate. What else? What else? Good morning, Patrick. Good morning, Jacob. There's the Red Book, 5.2, 5.9 prior. Saying for putting it in the earnings, JP Morgan was a beat. Citigroup was a beat. BlackRock was a beat. They missed on revenue. I don't consider them a bank, though. Wells Fargo was a beat. State Street was a beat. Ericsson was a beat miss. Albertsons was a beat. Good morning, Harold. Good morning, Dean. Hello. Helpo, everyone. Hello, Charles. Good morning, Ted. What a lousy CPI pop. I thought it was PPI. This market, again, now we're rallying off a chip. NVIDIA selling chips to China. Got to go all in. I mean, it's only a $4 trillion company. Got to go all in. So we had month over month inflation rate coming in 0.2, core coming in slightly lower than consensus, coming in actually 0.23. If it had been 0.25, it would have been rounded up. Year over year, 2.9, prior 2.8, so still climbing, just slightly below consensus. Inflation rate, the headline, month over month, prior 0.1, coming in at 0.3, year over year, 2.7, 2.7. There is no inflation, though, so there's no inflation. No inflation. Even 2% is inflation. So I don't know what to say. Empire State Manufacturing Index of bouncing from prior was negative 5.5. Red Book again 5.2 is Sterling put in there. We got Bowman, we got Barr, we got Collins, and we got Logan speaking tonight. So we got lots of Fed speak today. So now CPI's out of the way, and the markets have shrugged that off. We have tariff talk and Fed speak. S&P 500, Matt, there you see your chips going to the moon. There you go. Banks mixed this morning. Citibank up the most, 185 basis points. But tech's really leading it. Tech and mega caps are leading it today. You can see technology just blast off mode. Fed watch, we'll just refresh this again, but it's 97. It's pretty much a lock that they're not cutting in July, no matter what the people auditioning for the new Fed chair say. It's 97% for a lock, and I don't know how they could cut with that kind of CPI. So that's where we sit right there. Why did NASDAQ spike in Asia? I mean, a lot of it's been because of the CEO's trip to China. And then the announcement that they're selling the H20 chips. Good morning, Kevin. Good morning, Anissa. To China. Fear and greed, still solidly in extreme greed. Schiller PE, 38.20. Market just keeps going higher. We talked about the one pausing bar takeout. We're going to have to see how it closes the week, but that was the breakout play for me after invalidating most of the doubles yesterday. After the close, we have JB Hunt, but nothing really. A couple more smaller financial things. Tomorrow we have ASML, Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, Progressive, Johnson Johnson, Morgan Stanley, PNG. And then after the close tomorrow we have United. It'll be interesting, TSMC on Thursday also. So, can see here the doubles that never triggered are off the table. Rotation zones held. Back to daily cycle bottoms turning up. Remember I talked about this. We got a pausing bar. So technically for me, a break above there is a potential entry. It's got to follow through with at least a daily close, and then if it ever drops, it's then got to follow through with the weekly close. We hit the next minor harmonic 63.44. So what are we looking at right now? Again, market just shrugging off everything. On a pullback, you have very major support, 63.25 area. 63.25, I'm keeping an eye on the 4-hour rotation zone. If we do have any pullback with anything with a 4-hour rotation zone with a resumptive buy pattern. Okay, we are a little overbought on the 4-hour with cycle tops. So still watching for anything coming back, and that's where if it wasn't going to front run the takeout for the high, I just watch for a pullback and then a sort of a shorter term re-entry with the 4-hour rotation zone, and then watch how it reacts to the last week's high. Other than that, your major support, if we get a more substantial pullback, not necessarily today, but this week, 6,300, 6,301. That's actually a 50% harmonic from yesterday and today's price action so far. Next minor target higher, 63.55, then 63.80. NASDAQ, again, last week, pausing bar, we clearly took that out, blew through the next minor cluster. So this one, I'm paying closer attention to the 1-hour rotation zone. The 1-hour rotation zone and right around 2171. If we did drop into that, the major area for me is back around this 2100, 2120 area. So that's what I'm looking for. Other than that, the key targets, excuse me. Next minor is 23,294, so right in front of 23.3, then 23,486. Not much else to talk about there. Good morning, Tony. The Dow, confirming but not triggering the double. I thought yesterday this was going to turn into a channeling, and as I've said before, I've not found any specific way to determine whether it's going to be a channeling double versus a regular double. It's just basically looking at a bunch of them by now and somewhat seeing something, but there's no concrete way I figured out to do it yet. But this looked like a channeling double and did not trigger. So now, and the Dow is weaker today, but I'm watching on any rally the upper end of this channel area and right around 44,950 as key resistance. The Dow's not the thing I'm looking for right now. It's mainly the S&P and the NASDAQ. The Russell also invalidating its double and rotating back up. Very key resistance in the Dow, in the Russell is 2280. In the Russell is 2280. Pullback, again, if it pulls back, I'm just keeping an eye on the first cross rotation zone, which we dipped into and now rotating back up. So that's what I'm watching. Again, I'm paying attention to 4-hour rotation zones, except for the NASDAQ, where first I'm watching the 1-hour rotation zone. The VIX, again, yesterday, reversal back down from the gap up. Today, the VIX just starting to collapse back down. Again, we're back into, we had a little pop, but sell volatility, especially with CPI out of the way. DAX was looking today. We poked above the yesterday's high just a bit, but not able to sustain everything. I'm still going to be watching going into the closing of the DAX when Europe closes. I'm going to be watching to see if we can sustain something above yesterday's high for a potential rotation zone and percent B entry. If it doesn't, that could be a pretty significant shift in the DAX. The yields even somewhat, now the yields, we got the cycle tops. I guess inflation was not hot enough for the yields to keep rising. I'm now going to be watching for a little pullback in the yield, at least a pause, and a pullback to possibly about 4.38 area. But that's definitely a little bump and nothing much. Again, the only thing that has me shift longer term on yields is if we were to trigger that double top. 30-year, again, overbought, looking for a pullback closer to the daily rotation zone. Crude, going to be looking tomorrow for a potential setup unless we close below the 50, as I said yesterday. If we close below the 50, I'm not looking for bullish setups anymore in the short term. The only thing I could be watching right now is if we set up a percent beat buy for tomorrow. Gold, not much to talk about. Not much to talk about at all. Silver, we dropped yesterday, little pause today. I am not looking to chase silver at this moment. It is still dropping out, a very overbought with cycles at the top. Again, we could easily rotate back up for a short-term double. Again, very overextended from its weekly rotation zone. So being patient with silver at the moment. Copper, so far a sideways correction. Going to be watching if we set up a buying bar today or tomorrow. Nothing yet. Dollar index, very interesting. I got to talk about this one. Because you can see, here was the CPI. Big gap down, and look, immediately bought. Definitely a shift. So remember, the dollar, everyone was piling in shorts in the dollar. Now it's rallied back, but it's close above the rotation zone, so it's technically a neutral on the daily mode, coming back to this key trend line. But then you had something that could have triggered at least a pullback in the dollar, and it immediately reversed higher. I'm not saying we won't get reversals, pullbacks in the dollars, but I'm watching that definitely on pullbacks, we're getting dollar strength on pullbacks. So I'm real interested on any pullback for buying setup opportunities. Now we are coming into the key 62.5 and the declining weekly rotation zone, so I'm going to be at least watching for some kind of pause. And then I'm going to be watching if we close above 97.81. Euro, little pop here on the, you can see it right here in the 5-minute. And look, so euro, little pop on the CPI number, and then boom, immediately erased. So definitely a change in the euro too. That does not mean we won't get bounce plays in the euro, but I'm now looking for rollover setups in the euro. We are at daily cycle bottoms. So I'll be watching for some rollover plays. Be patient. I would not be aggressively shorting here, but on some rallies in the euro, going to be looking for short setups. Getting a little pause in the yields in the yen, the 10-year. You see, after retesting the high area, a little pause here, but this is definitely chipping away. I'm going to be watching for a basing setup, a pullback basing setup for yields in the yen. And the yen's still weakness. So yesterday we retested that 146.80 area with the rising rotation zone and now breaking higher. My target's 148.50, and we get through that. It's 149.23 to 149.64. Spiders, still technically, this did not pull back far enough to technically invalidate the double like in the S&P. If we get above 628.38, the double's invalidated, right? It's probably going to be invalidated anyways. I'm watching intraday the 1-hour rotation zone on the spiders. Okay, the major support level on a pullback now is 625.75 to 626 area. We're gapping up above the minor harmonic 627.33. We're trading 627.43 on the open. And on a pullback even before that 625.75 area, I'd be paying attention to Thursday's high. Thursday's high is key for support. That area around 626.87. Again, next target, 628.38. The larger targets, if the thing keeps going, the larger targets are here for your harmonic, 630.58. First, next. The Qs, again, are off the table. Next harmonic was next major harmonic 560.09. We're trading 560.31. So the gap up above there. So we're going to gap up to that key harmonic. At this point, we can raise it. Let me do this. Let's go to the pausing bar here now. So your next above that 560.09 area is 561.88, and then we have 566.13. Pullback support. Minor support is this 557 area. The major is last week's high. Last week's high, 557.63. Did I say good morning to you, Tony? Hey, Jake, how are you doing? Uranium. We can look at URA real quick. So, again, the double confirmed but never triggered. Rotation zone held and rotating back up. All right, what was this also? I did not point this out, but this is why I teach, because I don't point out everything on the live stream. But what was this? This was a percent B buy. So, percent B buy triggered last Wednesday. So I put it on your charts. Put it on your charts. If you're new, 5-period percent B. High, low, close divided by 3. If you need to, if you don't have a high, low, close divided by 3, you can always, it doesn't give as many signals, but you can always go to just the close. Okay, that's the secondary. It's close. High, low, close divided by 3 tests out slightly better, but if you don't have it, you can go to the close and it's 1 standard deviation. Now, the key targets for uranium, and we still haven't exceeded the high. But the major target is 41.7. The next major one is 41.78 and 44.25. The next minor target, which I use for stop raises for short-term stuff, would be right around $40. There's your uranium, Tony. I mean Jake. Sorry, Jake. I called you Tony. I meant Jake. Sorry about that. Tesla, still looking for rollover plays in here, but nothing yet. Could be setting up there. Still in a major consolidation pattern. NVIDIA, breaking out above the next key harmonic, 169.76. So that's now support. In the short term, the little minor areas, 171.99. The next major area, which this isn't even a decent, I'd like to go to a weekly pausing bar. We don't have one. So these will be updated once we get to a weekly pausing bar. You can see we do not have a weekly pausing bar, so I have to go off the daily, but once we get a weekly one, that's where the harmonics will be properly anchored. But until then, 175, 178. Coco says dollar's about to recover, gold will crash. I don't know if gold will crash. Gold can definitely pause and pull back, but I don't know about a crash. So that's where we sit right now. I mean, we had like Citigroup, the key harmonic area, the little stuff. Again, you can, on these little breakout plays, I like doing the little minor harmonics first. So what is that numbers? 89.67. So that would be my first intraday target, and then the next major cluster is 92. Again, still holding above, pulled back to the rotation zone, holding above the prior breakout highs. So that's where we sit there. Hate to bring it up, but Raymond James says ACHV. Achieve Life Sciences. Okay. Well, it would make sense with where it's trading price-wise. Oh boy. I mean, what if you're going to do your technical analysis on it, what would it be? What would it be? I mean, you got plenty of gaps left behind, but personally, unless this can get some meme stock boom traction, I'd be watching for a rollover between 315 and 344. Now, if it closes back above 344, it could definitely start doing something just there. Again, these are not my plays. These are not my plays. What was the new Kramer thing yesterday? It was, oh, what was it? Oh, no. Speaking about junk, I've been thinking a lot about H-bar. Does anybody have what Kramer tweeted out, the new... Oh, it was park your money. It was P for Palantir. This is where you park your money. P-A-R-C. It was Palantir, Robinhood, Coinbase. I forget the A. Can somebody look that up? Can somebody Google P-A-R-C Jim Cramer and let me know what the A is? What is crypt H-bar? Oh, jeez. You know what? At some point, now these things will keep going until they don't, but at some point this is going to end in tears for a lot of people. Please let me know what the A is. Now, would I be parking my money? Parking my money like long term. These are tradable. But would I be parking my money in a 620 PE stock that looks like this? This is not where I'd be parking my money. And let's park backwards. What if we reverse this? Would I be parking my money in Coinbase? No. Are they tradable? Yes. But would I put long-term investments in this crap? Park backwards is crap. I got to look this up. I need to look this up, actually. Hold on. His new park app. All right. AppLovin Corp. It's Palantir, AppLovin Corp, Robinhood, and Coinbase. Would I put it? Let's look at Robinhood. Again, would I be parking my money in this? Look at that chart. Look at that chart. Okay? This is not something I'd be chasing higher with money I'd park it in. I wouldn't even put this, I wouldn't even put on a short-term trade at that point. But what's this other thing? I've not ever looked at APP. I don't think AppLovin Corporation. AppLovin? AppLovin, what does... Oh, boy. Oh, boy. All right, Apple. I'm going to have to research some AppLovin. But again, that's the point we're at for market insanity. For pure market insanity. Was this a SPAC that started off as a SPAC? Or was this just an IPO? You got to love it, though. If you just do your pure technical analysis, look at this. Look at where it came down to. Look at that 62.5. I've never looked at this stock, by the way, so I just put up the harmonics to see where it was. Look at that. Look at that. Fascinating. I guess we got to park our money in AppLovin Corporation. I don't even know what AppLovin does. What does AppLovin do? AppLovin connects you to audiences in-app on mobile devices across streaming TV and beyond. Our advanced suite of solutions for app monetization, that's where you're parking your money? What do they do? Provide software and AI solutions to help app developers market, monetize, and analyze and publish their apps. I'm parking my money in AppLovin. Oh my gosh. I guess if you just put AI in anything now, I mean, I'm seeing like roofing companies. We use AI to analyze whether you need a roof replacement. What? You literally get on the roof and look. You don't go use AI. Oh, we're scanning it with our phone and it's telling us. No, you're not. Oh, come on. I mean, you literally have roofing companies now using AI, like saying they're using AI. This is becoming a meme unto itself. So, hey, we're going to park our money in a bunch of... Please don't. Please don't. I mean, it helps, but they're using AI. They're using AI, Sterling, to help. Oh, this market. This is like taking the .com stuff on steroids at this point. That's all I have to say. Can it keep going? It'll keep going till it doesn't. But you listen to me, that at some point this is going to end in serious tears. This is going to end in tears. Until then, as I said, I was watching last week's pausing bar highs for breakouts, because if this thing's just in insane rally mode, and it will keep going, it's shrugging off everything, it'll keep going until it doesn't. I don't know what's going to cause it to stop. Again, trades in the short term, just manage your stops, but is this a market I would take my wealth and invest it in long term? Not if you want a rate of return for the next few years. Because we've gone full pets.com crazy at this point. We've gone pets.com. And I still got my pets.com sock puppet. I'll have to put that on camera tomorrow. We've gone full pets.com mania now. If you don't know pets.com, look it up. And look up the pets.com sock puppet. They literally, at the peak of the .com bubble, you had companies IPOing that had no right IPOing, and pets.com had their sock puppet from their commercial that you could buy. I have a pets.com sock puppet because it's a reminder of for me, the mania that was. And we've turned into, you got to park your money. Or you got to crap your money. So we'll see which one it turns out to be. But again, if you're from the younger generation, look up pets.com sock puppet and do a little research. It's fun reading. Until that, the trend is still up. Do not get me wrong. Look at this. First, we had the capitulation bottom. First cross the rotation zone, pull back into the rotation zone, pull back into the rotation zone, rotation zone, rotation zone, rotation zone, rotation zone, rotation zone, rotation zone. We haven't even closed below the rotation zone. The trend is still up. We had a potential topping pattern. It's gone now already. So, trend is your friend until it ends. With that, I shall talk to everyone tomorrow. You had to do a Google. All right, Charles. So I will put, in case you haven't seen it, tomorrow morning, if I remember, I will put the sock puppet on camera. I will put the pets.com sock puppet on camera. With that, I hope everyone has a wonderful CPI Tuesday. It is widening. Yep. And we will, all right, overall, before I tune out, what I am watching for, not today, you know, I don't know what will trigger it, but I'm watching for an outside key reversal bar. That's going to be my first telltale sign. An outside key reversal bar. Okay? That's something that I'll be watching for. You're welcome, Anissa. So if you want to write something down, if we get an outside key reversal bar, especially in the NASDAQ, sit up and take notice. Until then, I will talk to you all later. Bye for now. Thank you for tuning in.